rep your third favourite trail and ultramarathon podcast while keeping cool and breezy in a DCR technical trucker hat, pleasing Woodland Vista, and one size fits most. Out now for $59.99 plus postage and packaging with a discount for DCR Aid Station paid subscribers. You'll find the code in the newsletter available from the Dirt Church Radio website, www.dirtchurchradio.com.
It actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does look pretty good. It looks very good, actually.
It does.
I'm stoked with it. And they're flying out the door, and lots and lots of people.
Limited supply.
Limited supply. And the people who've bought them love them, so get your mitts on one.
And they're off. Here we go.
Welcome to the DCR Aid Station podcast number 14. I'm Matt Raymond.
And I am Eugene Bingham Tiana Kaita Katoa. No mai, hoki mai. Another episode. How are you doing, Matt Raymond? There was an outpouring, I say. An outpouring of concern for you post your Wu2K adventure, which, in case anyone hasn't heard, you donged your head quite early on and got a concussion.
Quite early on, got a concussion. Never had whiplash before either. And
Is that because you were or you weren't wearing a seatbelt?
It's because I was wearing a pack, which
Your Bronco Billy.
Shout out to the big Bronco. It sits up high like a salmon. You know, it's one, and I think that both saved me from knocking myself out, but properly, but also the back of my neck and shoulders and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. This week's been shit. Actually, just hoping that the symptoms of concussion recede, which they have largely. I was back at work today. In fact, first day in a new job that I was supposed to start last week, which was hard as well. But yeah, people were really kind. I've spent the week wondering, like, would it have been easier to pull the pin or to keep going? And I don't know if the result would have been, in terms of my head, would have been any different. So on balance, well, glad I kept going.
As someone who was there at each of the aid stations, I can say, we probably would have had a fight in our hands if we tried to pull you off the course because you were so determined to carry on. So there's that. That was with medical advice as well. No, there were medics checking up on you and stuff. So no one was being silly about it, because I've seen a few comments of people saying, "Oh, you should have pulled out," but it's one of those calls on the day, isn't it? And we were talking to medics, and we were keeping an eye on you as well, obviously. And Rebecca is it's not her first rodeo in terms of dealing with that sort of issue. So it's not like we acted unreasonably or.
No, and it wasn't
not seeking a disclaimer.
No, but it is that thing, right? Like, there's I hit my head and I kept going and I shouted this runfluencer's name and just kept going. It's like anyone who knows me for 10 seconds knows that I'm actually not that human being. And, I've got a really, really, really long run coming up. And I think that if I don't start to practice some of those some of those kind of practices around getting up and facing challenges, then I got a real time on my hands. And who knows, like, if it had been, say, in February, okay, cool, I hit my head at 10K, I'm going to keep going. Maybe I'm pulling at 60, but in that point, another 30, it was 36K, cool beans. Like, but yeah, just spent the week with a head injury, which was as fun as you can.
Have you run again?
Yeah, I've run twice.
Mm-hmm. How's that been?
Because the symptoms, they're good, really good. Yeah.
Good.
So just, nothing stupid, but just back on the horse, which is good and helpful. So
nice.
Further faster there in Christchurch, Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go further faster now.
Oh, further faster there in Christchurch, Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious.
Go further faster now.
Dirt Church Radio. And I mean, we were joking yesterday that, if you put us together, we make one sort of functional human being. How are you? The great injury dilemma of 2024 continues on.
Yes. So last week on Wednesday, I had my long-awaited appointment with the surgeon to talk about my issue with my heel. So in case anyone missed it, back in January, I sort of came up limpy after a run in Wellington, not blaming anyone. First run for a while with the Worm crew. Anyway, I was limping after that and it just got a bit worse. So I sought some help. For some years, I've had Haglund's deformity on the back of my heel, which I've known about and been managing. It's basically a little bone growth on the back of your heel, which some people get. And, it's obviously been aggravated from running longer distances over the years. But I've been managing it and it's been okay. But it had made my Achilles really, really grumpy to the point where I was told to stop running and was referred to a sports doctor who referred me on to, after an MRI, referred me on to a surgeon to have a look at it. So I went along to the surgeon on Wednesday and the kind of discussion went around in circles and it's raised some very big questions actually about what it is that I want to do with my running. And there were 3 options presented to me, one of which was like a really serious injury in which he quite graphically described having to open my Achilles like a book to get at the bone and clean up the Achilles. Option 2 was, but that was going to involve a really long recovery process. Option 2 is a lesser surgery, less invasive surgery, but still one that would not be fun and would have a lesser chance of me getting back to what I was. And then option 3 is maybe we just suck it and see for a while, and have a think about what it is that I want to do with my running. So I left with those thoughts in mind, and to be honest, they've been going around and around in my head ever since. I'm gonna go with option 3 for a little while and just see how I go, try and rehab the Achilles a bit. Part of the discussion was, I definitely asked him, look, if I do get back to running, and obviously I still have to rehab my Achilles, I'm not going to be jumping in any start lines straight away, to be clear. So there's still a bit of work to do to get my Achilles back in shape to be able to run. But if I do and I carry on running, what's the worst that can happen? And his answer was, well, no one's leg has fallen off as a result of a Haglund's deformity. It's not the end of the world. You'll suffer pain and keep getting Achilles injuries, obviously, but maybe I can find a way to manage them. So a lot of decisions to be made, and I haven't come to any yet. So yeah, still thinking about things really.
So we're going to put a poll up on our Instagram and
that's right.
3 options, and Eugene will go with whichever one.
That's right.
The listeners choose.
That's right. Yeah.
Was it more? I mean, obviously we talked about this. You gave me a call. And we had a chat. Was it more or less reassuring? Because I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Like, and surgery by its very nature is invasive because it's getting cut into you. But was it more reassuring to think like, actually, maybe this was sort of 7 months that perhaps I didn't want, but I needed kind of things to settle down? Or were you like, God, I wish I'd done this, found this out earlier because I could have started.
Option B.
Yeah.
I do wish I'd known this several months ago, but it's taken this long to be able to get in to see the surgeon. And I think in that time, in, being involved in trail running to the extent that I am and watching everyone getting out and doing cool races and cool runs and stuff, I've sort of become, I guess I've become fixated on being able to walk in the door of the surgeon, him going, yep, cool, let's do it. Here's, come in next week, I'll cut you up and you'll be out running again soon. Instead, I came away with nothing certain and a kind of a question mark over what it is that I want from running from now on. And I've said this repeatedly over the last 6 years on Dirt Church Radio, my overriding goal with running is I still want to be running when I'm older and grayer. So what does that mean? I guess I need to be a bit more definitive about it. I'd never really kind of quantified what that was. Is it just I can get out for a park run or something, or is it I can still run 100-mile races if I want to? Yeah, and I guess that is the question that I need to figure out. So.
Because that's the thing, isn't it? You were going for stuff, though, because you'd always said, like one of your things is don't put stuff off in this stupid sense, but like if I do this, I want to do this. I don't want to kind of die wondering almost, and has that sort of changed your perception?
What do you mean?
In terms of like, Naseby or Ghost or any of those ones that you were like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And you've had times where, and then you're kind of very, very focused on that sort of process and that campaign. I guess, has this given you any pause and sort of looking at that and thinking, well, does that mean, is that what I,
Oh, yeah, that's the big question. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is the big question. And I just need to figure out what I want from running and what it's going to take me to get to where I want to be. So one option involves getting some surgery. One option involves doing some pretty serious management of it. So yeah, I'm talking to people, getting some advice around what that might look like, and maybe it's a change in the way that I train from now on. I was talking to a mutual friend of ours who, I won't name him because it's his story to tell, but basically, as he's got older, he's decided that running lots is not the best way for him to train for ultras. He does a lot more in the way of strength work, and
he's worryingly jacked.
Yeah, but also incredibly. He's flexible and he's very, he moves very well. And that's what he does to get himself prepared for ultras. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a consideration for me. But there's lots to think about. I walked out of there a bit. Well, you ask Suzanne, I was grumpy. As for a couple of days because I just wanted an answer. And instead I got more questions. So there we are.
Please don't send your well-meaning rehabilitation strategies to Eugene Bingham at eugenebingham.com. Please don't. He will endorse a plan, except for mine, which is you should just bear crawl everywhere.
Yeah.
You'll get super strong.
Yeah. I remember we went to a training thing for working in hazardous environments. It was in Kangaroo Valley in New South Wales, and it was run by a couple of ex-Special Forces guys. And one of them was teaching us about getting down low, and we were kind of in a scenario. And he said, right, get down low and scramble across there. And we got down low and sort of, awkwardly made our way across. And he just sort of stood there with his hands on his hips going, no, your bums were higher than you do it like this. And then he basically dropped down into like a spider position.
Right.
And just took off along the ground. It was amazing. He was like, he could move faster on 4 limbs than I can on 2. And he was like an inch above the ground. It was amazing. Amazing. So I've always thought maybe that's a good way to get around. So here we go.
I still am. You've seen our front yard and the camber of our front yard heading down to the oak tree at the bottom of our yard. And there was a terrifying period of time. Well, it wasn't terrifying, but, good couple of 3 years where Rebecca worked at a large prison.
Yes.
And would spend her lunch breaks a couple of 3 times a week doing essentially prison workouts with some of the corrections officers.
Yeah.
And this one time, she's like, "Yeah, come and jump in with me." I was like, "Okay, I'll jump." And she had us bear crawling from the oak tree to the steps and then back down, like but reverse bear crawling, and then bear crawl up and then bear crawl back. And I think I didn't last the whole. No, didn't last the whole thing.
No. That is terrorized. That is
terrifying.
Terrifying. That is terrifying. Absolutely. Ugh.
Speaking of all fours,
yes, you're heading over for the stair climb challenge with Ellie, and it's coming up real fast. Have you got any updates?
Things are just gathering apace. So, New South Wales Fire and Rescue, Further Stairs Challenge climb, a Fireys climb for motor neuron disease, not for motor neuron disease, to raise money and awareness in the treatment of motor neuron disease. And we're going to be doing a live podcast on the Thursday night with, I can't remember his name, but sort of a world-leading expert in motor neuron disease who works for Macquarie University. It's going to be all sorts of, we'll get Gavin up, obviously, and have a chat to him, but he's planning to do up and down the Further Stairs for 24 hours, which literally gave me nightmares. But
I think I'd rather bear crawl up and down your front yard
for 24 hours. Yeah. I absolutely would as well.
Holy moly. I don't know which would leave you in worse shape, but the thought of it is horrifying.
It's horrifying.
He's a beast. He's an absolute beast, Gavin Clifton. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's going to be awesome.
So the link is in our show notes. And so please, check it out. And if you're over that side of the ditch, come along. If you're not over that side of the ditch, pretty cool. August 28th. It's going to be really, really fun.
Indeed.
Speaking of going up things quickly and, on all fours, this is a reference to a goat, obviously. Robin Lesh, DCR returning champion, took the win at Speed Goat over the weekend. Amazing run for the 28K race, which involves running literally up and down a mountain and up and down and up and down, and with a full send to the finish down a hill, 2,000 meters of elevation. Oof. So no joke, and I'm sure it's some crazy elevation as well. Robin's a force to be reckoned with, and if you haven't heard his story, have a listen to DCR episode 263 and Speed Goat. I mean, golden age of a kind of ultra running. Hey, one of the first.
Absolutely. Yeah. Trail and ultra running, and just amazing. And that's a pretty storied race. So great to have her name on the trophy there. Well done. Look, talking about storied races, we caught up with our mate Andrew McDowall. So, of course, he's the man behind the music in the show and has been such an amazing assistance to us over the years and put up with our crying and so on. He was heading off to Western States in the US, the country's oldest 100-mile race, and we spoke with him a few weeks ago, as you recall, and we promised to catch up with him when he got home. And we've kept our word. So Andrew, not to spoil the ending, but Andrew earned a silver buckle by finishing the race in under 24 hours and was well into that, has to be said, 22:51. It's an awesome buckle, by the way. He showed it to us. It's quite heavy.
So cool.
So heavy. Actual silver. Anyway, in this conversation, you'll hear all about this special race. If you've ever thought about going in the lottery, or you've been lucky enough to be drawn, you'll learn so much. And even if Western States isn't for you, there are some great tips in here, including be like Nemo. I love that. Plus, Andrew is always such a good storyteller, so you will enjoy this yarn, I'm sure.
Do you vacuum your car every day? This is so nice.
No, I don't.
I feel like I'm in a car ad.
But you're not. You're on Dirt Church Radio aid station. Andrew McDowall.
Oh, hey.
Talking about Western States. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, sorry. People are probably sick of hearing about Western States now. They've all moved on, ready to talk about the next great
UTMB.
UTMB.
You doing that?
You've done that as well.
Yeah, but badly, and it took forever. So I was just running with Scott this morning, and I said and then I realised what I said, because poor Scott has DNF UTMB, but I realised it feels like a DNF when you take so long to do something and you suffer so much, and you still finish, but you really didn't enjoy it, and then anyway. Then I realised who I was talking to, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, bro."
And then you got back to the car park and showed him your Western States buckle. Of
course.
Yeah,
but he hasn't DNF'd that, so that's okay, right? Yeah, freshly polished. You'll be pleased to know.
Every day.
Every day, like the back of your car, it's just as clean.
Well, you certainly did not DNF Western States. You nailed it.
Thank goodness, eh? Like, yeah, no, I'm stoked, eh? Like, it's definitely the elephant in the room for 6 months, as I think I said before doing it. But I think it does make you quite focused about when you do hit that start line, and the whole week leading up to it. You're never going to be that disciplined as you are that week, and being able to get straight into the heat, having 6 or 7 days to really acclimatise to that. Although, on the Wednesday when you actually get to the 2,000 metre altitude, it still surprises you. Like I don't think it would be a big deal.
That's what you said to us. You were like,
Yeah. I was all like, it's nothing, right? I've done that before. But yeah, as soon as I got there and you're just taking your bags up to the ACOM, which was admittedly a bit of a hike up to the front door, and you sort of put them down and you're like breathing really heavily and you're like, what's wrong with me? Like, have I got some illness? And then you realize, oh, actually, no, this is altitude just kicking in straight away. And I had a headache like the rest of the day. But again, I was able to, chuck the running shoes on, just hit the trail straight away, just try and get the body used to it. I even discovered like something on the watch that I'd never seen before. And it has like an acclimatization thing, which could be garbage. I don't know, because some of these things are garbage. But it said after each run on the days leading up, it said you're now 900 meters acclimatized, you're now 1100 meters acclimatized, and it was looking like it was going to be roughly 200, 300 meters a day, which isn't enough, right? But you sort of go, oh, that's interesting. I wonder how accurate that is. But every day you do feel better, and like you're pretty much over it the next day. But when you start on the Saturday and you go up to, is it 2700? Like it's about the top of Ruapehu, but you actually stay up there for ages. Like the first 50K, you're above 2,000 meters for nearly all of it. And then, in fact, you finish with a bit of a peak before you actually drop down properly. And yeah, it's definitely hits you. It's not like running at sea level at all. And so that was definitely a surprise. That like I say, full of bravado beforehand of that not being an issue, and it was tricky.
Before you get into the race proper, you scored yourself a free pack. I mean, you seem to have quite a good time in the days beforehand as well. So tell us about that.
Yeah, it is like I call it a bit like Disneyland for trail runners because
and you've been to Chamonix, so
yeah,
compare and contrast.
Well, some of it's similar because they've modelled that village there, the Olympic Valley. The massive buildings are very Chamonix-ish. Like they've got the same vibe. They've clearly gone for the European ski town look, which is cool. It's great. So and all the people walking around look just like all the people walking around in Chamonix, like lots of really fit, happy, smiley people. So there's definitely some similarities there, but you feel a lot more special at Western States. You're walking around, once you've done your registration, you get your yellow armband and you're just walking through crowds of people, and then they see the thing, and they're just like, "Have a great run tomorrow." It's like your little calling card that you're one of the special ones, and they really make a point of you don't feel like UTMB. You're just one of the thousands. You're just part of the masses, and everything's really hard to get to and get round because it's just crowds everywhere. This one, you definitely feel like it's a much smaller, much more focused thing. It's still a party. And, from what I understand, it's still much more of a crazy town than, say, Hard Rock. But you definitely feel more individualized, if that makes sense. And the pack, you get like given a bag, you get given, I've got the Gooder Western States glasses, which I will never wear because they will immediately deteriorate. Sorry, Gooder. And socks, and it's all branded. Like everything is
slides,
which are 10 sizes too big for me and look ridiculous, but that's fine. And then you have like the guerrilla campaigns where I was talking to one of the other runners and he's like, "Oh, have you got your free Nikes yet?" And you're like, "What do you mean free Nikes?" He's like, "This is a Hoka race." He goes, "Oh yeah, no, around the corner there, around the back there, they've set up a little tent and they'll see you're a runner and you get a free pair of Nikes, I was like, okay, you feel real dodgy. You're sort of walking around trying to find this thing. And then sure enough, there was a Nike tent and I was really late to it. And I said, I'm a size US 11, which is like the most common and it's always the one that sells out. And they said, "Oh, yeah, sorry, mate, we haven't got your size anymore, but we'll send you a pair." "Oh, really? I live in New Zealand." Like, "Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we'll send it to New Zealand. We'll send you an email." Now what are we? 3 weeks later, I still haven't received an email. So we'll see.
To be fair, their website did just go down, but
true. So it is Swag Central, and I had that really good experience with the Ultimate Direction. I went to talk to them. They had a tent there. My pack had the elastic that holds the bottle in had broken, and I said, "Have you got any more of those? Is there an easy way to fix that? Because it kind of wrecks the pack when you can't hold a bottle in." And he sort of said, "Oh, I don't have those things. Really sorry, man, but I can see you're running tomorrow, bro. So just have another pack. Here you go, man. That's like, what is it, $300 pack?" And he just grabbed one off the thing and said, "Just take that, man. Here you go. Hey, good luck tomorrow." You're like, wow, this place is crazy, So that side of things was super cool. I had a bit of drama leading up to the race. My pacer that I was going to have, Chad, who's like really experienced, done Western States twice and that sort of carry on, had a major illness and was unable to travel. And him and I found out at the same time. And so suddenly Wednesday night, leading up to the race, I had no pacer, which they really recommend you have for this race. I sort of thought, I asked a few friends, "Hey, anybody?" And they said, "Oh, go to the online portal and check it out. So I did. And there's this epic setup where everyone who wants to help out has put their name on there. The list is enormous. And then they say, oh, I want to run, I can do this pace. You know, I'm looking for a runner who will run, 21 to 23 hours, which is where I was headed. And I came, and then you see their name, and of course you immediately look them up on Ultra Sign Up just to see if they're any good. I came across Claire Helsop, and she's a Canadian runner, and I saw that she'd got 11th at UTMB last year, and the time that she'd put down the 21 to 23 hours, and I thought, let's go, hit the button. And I thought you could plead a case, I just lost my, but no, you just hit a button and it says, right, we've contacted her. Like, okay, let's see how this goes.
It's a grinder for paces.
But 7 a.m. the next morning, get an email from her saying, let's go. Yeah, I'm keen as. And she turned out to be brilliant. 2
days before?
Yeah, the Thursday before the race. Yeah. So it's not easy to find someone who's like keen to run 60Ks on hey man, you up for a 60K on Saturday? A really important 60K that you can't screw up. But I knew I'd picked the right person because she rocked up that afternoon. We went through all the gear, talked about things I'd forgotten, and she's got a really analytical mind. She turned out, would you believe, because she's been to New Zealand. She's actually run Northburn 50K.
Right.
Oh, I've got a hot take for you. Speaking of Northburn 50K, I reckon the first 50Ks of Western States is harder than the first 50Ks of Northburn.
Well, you'd know.
Sorry, Terry. I think it is. Just because of the elevation. Like, it's nearly the same vert. I think you run like 2,600 meters as opposed to 2,800. But the way it's presented and the fact that you're in that high country the whole time, gnarly, man. Really, really gnarly. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry, telling a really long story.
And she was a ED nurse.
Yeah, I didn't know any of this. And she worked at Timaru Hospital. There you go.
Jesus.
How weird is that for a small world? And so that's pretty handy, having a doctor as your pacer. Fortunately, no major dramas. So that was good. But yeah, she drove me to registration, hung out, the whole thing. So just so helpful because Chad was going to do all of that. So suddenly I had no driver for all of the stuff. But it did mean that the first 100K, I had no crew or anything. You're just aid stations the whole time. But the aid stations are amazing. They have the system where at a few of them they have a lineup of aid station crew waiting, and as soon as you enter, they assign one of them to you, and then they stay with you the whole way through the aid station, helping you with bottles. And of course, there's other people as well. There's so many people, and so all your ice and everything's getting into your arms and your ice bandana and everything, and it's all done for you.
It's
like a concierge.
It's amazing. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it. There's a little clip of one of the top runners had 15 people on them while they're having noodles, and then people were just going through all their pockets, and it looked amazing. It wasn't quite like that for me, but it was pretty cool. Yeah.
All right. So race day, this day that you've dreamed of for so long, is there. What was it like standing on the start line?
Yeah, well, I was only there for about 4 minutes because I did a little cheeky sort of a 1K warm-up. I kind of went the wrong way and ended up back at the start, almost at the countdown. I was basically the back of the field. I was somewhere around 250th or something on the start, and I was quite happy with that because no pressure, right? I'm not beating Jim Walmsley. He's good. I'll let him and Dan Jones do their thing. So there's no pressure to be in a certain position or whatever, and that the first climb up is huge. So, and it's on a big wide road. There's plenty of room if you want to pass. The shotgun goes off. That's pretty cool, man. It just resonates off the mountain, and yeah, off you go. But it all happens so quickly. You're suddenly just going, and I didn't actually have a lot of time to stand there and be nervous or anything. The escarpment climb is pretty serious. It's really long, and it takes about an hour, I think, to get to the top. And then there were so many people up there. It was like a Tour de France.
Yeah, that top sounds amazing.
Yeah, and because the sun's just come up, the weather was beautiful. It's just a perfect day, and they're going off, man. There's like a guy there standing holding like a dozen muffins. Like, anyone want muffins? No, not right now, thanks. But, it had a vibe. It had a real vibe, and it's all genuine. I think that's the thing that's so good about the whole thing is it's not forced. The enthusiasm is natural. Everyone's just.
Well, you got to choose to be there, right? That's the thing. It's not somewhere where you can and even somewhere like Chamonix or what have you, this is like a big city marathon. Like, you have to choose, like you said, to get up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
To hike up to that escarpment to get up to the top. You can't sort of I woke up here, and
Well, that's the amazing thing is the amount of people that have flown or driven a long way to just be there. They're not there for a runner or anybody. They're just like, oh, yeah, I just came here to hang out.
Wow.
I'll tell you what was pretty brutal was, because the wait list, right? Usually a few people get in the last day because a few people don't turn up for registration and they didn't know, which I can't imagine, like not turning up.
It's not like the Xterra series at Riverhead, is it? The
very next person on the wait list had flown from Sweden. And they didn't get in.
I guess though that's the thing, isn't it? If you're going to take your like if like you said, if it's a 9-year journey or if it's you've and you're going to spend the money anyway, and that I guess it's like Kepler on steroids, isn't it? Do I start training? Do I don't? Do I start? You know, like where are you on the wait list if you're
Absolutely.
blah blah blah.
Because in recent years the whole wait list is empty. Just the last one or two, it's been back to normal, which is I think about 30 or so. So you'd give yourself a good chance, and one guy got in, but not the guy from Sweden. He was the next one. So brutal. Anyway, so just because my stories get too long, the first 50k is hard. Like I said, you're up
and no snow.
No, 10 meters, mate. 10 meters, not vertically, 10 meters horizontally. And that's a no, but a lot of dust, huge amount of dust. I struggle to see sometimes because you're behind a train of like 5 or 6 people. And apparently it's like really bad for you, that dust. It's like really fine silica type dust. So that's not great.
And you pulled off an awesome overtaking move.
Yeah, just coming into the 16-mile aid station. I was trying to get past people because of the dust. I didn't want to be a dick and just pass people for no reason, but I couldn't see. I thought, they are going a little bit slow. And so I'm going around the side and just hit this route and just took a full stack right in front of everybody. And they didn't show me much sympathy, which I think's fair. They just kind of kept blasting away. And I was like, and now I have to try and pass you guys again later, oh man. So the dust was definitely an issue. It was super dry. And that was, it was dusty the whole time, even when you got to the lower areas. But it's funny how things that were bothering you early on, you just don't care after a while. You just keep going. Got to Robinson Flat, 50k in one piece, and then you start a nice big long descent, and you end up descending into that first canyon. And the climb out of that canyon into Devil's Thumb, about halfway, sucks. And you look on the map, it's like 5k. It's not huge. It's not like some of those South Island climbs, but the heat's starting to really kick in of the day. Wow. You are sort of the climb up is actually sheltered from the sun a little bit, but I was worked at halfway. I got to Devil's Thumb, and the thing is, you sort of you want to complain, and like you're in that hole a little bit, and you just have to keep telling yourself, mate, it's Western States, just get on with it. Stop being a loser. Just get out of your little fug and get on with it. And you can even see the aid station people. They're probably quite used to people turning up at that particular one with their heads down and a little bit over it. And you could see that none of them were tolerating any of that nonsense, like, right, let's go. What do you need? Again, person's assigned to you all the way through, And I had this dude who must have been in his 60s, and he looked like he'd run 500, 100-mile races. He just had that steely look about him.
He's going to destroy you in the car park.
I'm not going to complain to this guy. It's too hardcore for me. So, you get on with it, you get your ice in. And then the drop down into the second was the hottest I've ever been, I think, in my life. It just you're in a furnace. I felt like the little character from Rango when all his skin flakes off from the heat. Because all the trees had burnt out. There'd been a huge fire years earlier, so they were just black stumps. And even though I was going downhill, there was no wind, and all my ice melted within 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I was just like, my shirt was just crispy. It's so hot.
Wow.
And
what were you doing with ice?
So I had it in my arms. It's quite a shock if you ever do this, because I had the arm sleeves, and so I'd put ice down at the lower section of my arms. But it's hard. It burns your skin. It's quite uncomfortable. It's quite painful.
Very cold.
It's cold, but it manifests itself as pain. And so the first few times I'd have it on for like a couple of minutes, and then I'd just shake it out. I couldn't handle it. But the bandana on the neck was great because you got a bit of fabric in between the skin. So that I had that going from 10 miles or 16 miles all the way to 90 miles. I was still filling it with ice. I'm going to use that for every hot race forever now, so long as there's ice available, because it just makes such a difference. And it made the whole day work, But yeah, it melts. So the aid stations are close together really for compared to most races. But yeah, there were a couple of spots where I could have done with some more. Yeah, but I had got to El Dorado Creek at the bottom of the second canyon. Had myself a new gel I'd never had before. Try something new on race day.
New pack, new gel.
Yeah, new gel. But it worked a treat, man. We had some caffeine in it. What was it? Precision hydration. Yeah.
So it was a caffeinated one.
Yeah, it was a caffeinated one, and it's the first caffeine I'd had all day. And I half sprinted up the climb to Michigan Bluff. I felt amazing, and then from then through to Forest Hill, just $1 million. It was amazing how well that worked. Probably should have just mainlined that for the rest of the race, but I only had one. Met the pacer at 100K. Met the people that had been looking after me. They'd driven 2 hours each way just to be at that one aid station, which is amazing. And so I hung out there a little bit longer just to, soak it in a bit. Then we took off for the last 60Ks. Claire was really good, kept that real positive mindset. Something I really liked was when I'd be a little bit, you do get over it after a while.
You're allowed to be over it.
Yeah. And she's like, stop thinking about it, because I'd be like, when's that massive climb? It's coming up soon, isn't it? Like you're getting into that negative headspace. And she'd be like, stop thinking about the climb. Don't worry about it. You'll get there soon. Just be like Dory from Finding Nemo. Just be like, oh, a tree. Oh, a trail. Oh, a corner. Oh, we're going down. Oh, we're going up. Just take whatever's in front of you. Just your immediate. Just be really present. Just worry about what's right there.
Be like Dory.
Be like Dory.
I love it.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. And of course, you're saying all this stupid stuff, and it is passing the time. It's actually helping out. The river, sorry.
I was going to say, because you did start to feel nauseous, or am I jumping ahead of it? Yeah.
No, I was about there just before the river. And I was finding that if, I ran I had to sort of stop running after every sort of 300 or 400 meters, because you just feel your guts everything's about to come out. And I knew I didn't want that, because I think once you start vomiting and now your guts is empty, you're in a downhill spiral then. So I would have to walk until it settled and then run. So it became a bit of a run walk, even though I actually felt quite good. I think I'd paced myself really well throughout the day. So I was still physically able to run quite quickly, but I just had to keep doing that for the remainder of the race. But yeah, it was quite a cool moment after you had the water crossing, which is epic.
The photo looked amazing.
It's a lot more intense than I was expecting. I kind of thought it'd be a little river that you just sort of pop across and stuff, but you come down to it and there's a lot of noise, right? That's the first thing, is there's some rapids right behind you. So there's quite a bit of noise from the river. And there's, of course, people standing every, like 1.5 meters apart.
And is this Rocky Chucky?
Rocky Chucky, yeah. 130K, I think. And they're just talking you through it. Every single step, like, okay, there's this boulder now drop down, now you're going down, now watch, see that? They had these little, those glow sticks on the floor of the river. So you can see down there, up here, over this boulder, and like, you'll be knee deep and then you'll be up to your neck, like in one step. So it was quite surprisingly difficult. But also, like, they're standing in this river for hours. Even though they've got the waders and stuff, it's just like, you must be freezing. The water was so cold. Especially when you drop down, like, oh, yep, that's fresh. But, it's amazing how good you feel afterwards. Like, the legs loved it. Did the shoe change, took ages, trying to dry your feet and everything. I had a blister on the back of both heels, which I've never had before. Run up to Green Gate, feeling pretty good. And then it's just a really long trail from there for like 20Ks of just everything looks the same, to be honest, because you're in the dark and you've got your head torch and you've got a dusty trail in front of you and some trees. I mean, that doesn't really change. Yeah, coming across the 90-mile aid station. Can't remember what it's called. But I'd been wondering if the veggie broth was in fact vegan. And Claire said, oh, look, she grabbed this old Scott Jurek who happened to be working at the aid station. And I said, oh, I'll ask this guy. He'll know. And he said, yes, it is, mate. Go for it. It's like, I didn't think I'd be asking Scott Jurek if the soup was vegan today, but there we have it. And Hal Kerner was there as well, and they were so cool. Like, they were just fully down to earth. What do you need? Just another aid station helper. It was really cool. And then he was like, okay, now the next bit does this and this. Don't forget to turn left. The Jim Walmsley 90 miles where he missed the left-hand turn. And he thinks like an ultra runner would think, because he was sort of like, right, when you get to the road, you're not done with the climb. You cross the road and you're still going up. Keep that in mind, and it's really good, because that's the sort of stuff that can, if you think you're at the top of a climb and you're not, you can get in again. You need to have headspace. So he knows the right things to say, and it was really cool. It's one of those, it's okay to meet your heroes sometimes. And yeah, up and down, crossed O'Han's Bridge, and up. It was pretty cool. The climb up to Roby Point is steep and long, but after that you've got like a mile and a half to go. And so we just started running it. It's like, bugger, it doesn't matter how steep it is. We can run another 2 miles. So I actually ran some of the real steep stuff towards the finish. A couple of drunk people out still supporting it. 3:30 in the morning, which was really cool. All power to them. And then the magic moment, you come around the corner and you can see Placer High School in front of you it's all lit and everywhere else is dark. So it just looks amazing. And you're slightly above it. You're coming downhill.
Because you're running through the town.
Yeah, the town of Auburn. You don't really see much of it. You're kind of coming from the outskirts, and the track is close to the southeast end of it. And the last 300 meters, you just float around. There's a dude with the camera that you're just kind of chatting to, and you get the job done. It was pretty choice. The funny part at the finish line was the Urbanski brothers, who Matt Urbanski spent some time here in New Zealand
and won the 100 mile.
100
mile.
Yeah, so he's legit, right? I beat Matt at Northburn one year, but he DNF'd, so that's the only reason I beat him. And Jeff, his brother, I beat at Taipei 24-hour last year because he had a bad day, not because I'm a better runner. And Matt, I'd talked to Matt before the race. He got in. It was probably a bone of contention between them because Matt had 64 tickets and got in. Jeff had 128 and he didn't. But Jeff paced him, so they were both there. And Matt said to me before the race on the Friday, he said, I'm looking at about 17 hours. And I'm like, cool, man, go for it, bro. Then, of course, I come to the finish line and he's sitting in the chair. And my first thought was, oh, what a GC, mate. Like, he's come out at 4 a.m. to welcome me in. That was my first thought. And then he's sitting there going, oh, bro, what took you so long? I've been here for 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, you were only 2 minutes ahead of me this whole time.
And you hadn't seen him all day?
I hadn't seen him. I had no idea that he was there. Right. So that was quite funny to sort of cross and see him. Wow. And had a good chat with him. But he was wrecked. He had death marched like miles.
Wow. And you talking to people hanging around the finish line, you hung around the finish line, didn't you?
I mean, I had nowhere else to go. I mean, I wasn't sure when I was going to get in. And so we had all these sort of contingency plans of, you could go here, maybe go here, depending on when I finished. But when I did eventually finish, which was, 10 to 4 in the morning, was probably the worst possible time to come in for any of those plans to work.
Yeah, right.
And the easiest thing to do was to sort of high five Claire, say thanks, so she could go back to her digs. But that was miles in the wrong direction. So that was sort of like, see you later. I had my jacket, I had enough clothes and everything. So I just pulled up a chair and waited until Wendy and Brent, who had been looking after me all week, until they came back from their ACOM, which was near the start line. So they turned up at like 8 or 9 in the morning. But then, of course, you just hang out for golden hour and you hang out for prize giving. So I ended up just staying there the better part of, probably 9 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were already kind of way over 30 hours. No sleep. Like 35,
I
36
fell asleep
hours.
for like 5 or 10 minutes in the chair. Like at some point, you just naturally fall asleep. But I didn't sleep much. But that wasn't. It wasn't an issue. You're kind of buzzing. It's still pretty buzzy.
Yeah. Well, especially golden hour must be amazing.
Yeah. Oh man, but there was a blind assisted runner coming around the track, and you're just watching the clock, and you're like, come on, and you just know they're not going to make it. It's just impossible. They're not going to make it. And they're like 30 seconds over. That sucked. You want those dream endings, eh? But it didn't happen this year. And of course, Auburn is so hot. It was, by the time prize giving came around, it was nearly 40 degrees. You're just absolutely baking. So I hung around. I got my beautiful silver buckle,
which we've seen.
We haven't seen it.
No, we've seen it. It's pretty cool.
I just give it another clean, and I'll show it to you guys. And as soon as I got it, I was out of there. I was like, right, let's go. We're backed off to San Francisco and another burrito and beer, which was pretty bloody good. Yeah, huge success.
And how are you feeling now?
Okay, like just did a DCMF and didn't feel amazing. My quads are still. You
were worried about your quads.
Yeah, because doing Northburn was such a disaster with both quads completely crapping out. I was really worried about that, and the left one started to go on the downhill of the first canyon.
Right.
So I had to really pull back pace immediately because the old me would have been like, "Oh, that'll buff out. That's just a niggle. That'll go away." I was like, "No, we're not doing that today." Yeah. So I pulled it right back, and it was sore for the whole time. But funnily, afterwards, for the first 2 weeks afterwards, I tried to run a couple of times, and it was wrecked. Wow. Really, really painful. Just like someone's giving you the biggest dead leg.
Right.
And so every time you land on it, it almost feels like it's not going to work. It's got that, but it's okay now.
Yeah.
But I felt it today.
Yeah.
Didn't feel awesome, but a very small price to pay for what was enormously successful 7 days or 8 days over there.
9 years.
9 years. Oh my God.
9 years of going in the lottery.
What's next?
You do have a ticket. So in December, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, I didn't think I would say I'd do it again, but
Of course you will.
I'll do it again. Yeah, if I can, I'll put my ticket in and start again. I'm sure it'll be years. So yeah, that's how good it is.
Yeah,
that sound you can hear in the background is Emma's teeth just sympathetically grinding.
Mate, she's doing 5 weeks in New York right now. She can't complain. Yeah.
So all you dreamed of, and not in terms of the race, but just in terms of the experience, compared to UTMB. What do you reckon?
It wastes UTMB. It's so much cooler.
Really?
As a race, I mean, I think UTMB has more epic views in certain areas. After Courmayeur, when you climb up to the top and you're running along this ridge and you got Mont Blanc in the north, that is unbelievable. Like, that is spectacular in that sort of carry on.
Like running on a chocolate box.
Sure.
Running in a chocolate box.
Yeah, but I think as something that feels special, it feels like a very unique thing that only that area and only those people could pull off. And I hope it remains independent. You know, I know they're very cozy with the UTMB vibe. They're definitely partners, but they made a point at briefing to say we are an independent race. We are not part of UTMB or anything. And I hope that stays that way because it's special. So yeah. Next up, hopefully more tickets in Hard Rock. Yeah. So that's the next one to go check out and try and see what that's like.
So what's your plan? Hard Rock?
Yeah, Hard Rock, Tour de Gens and Badwater. Those are the
nothing special.
But I've now done my top two. So these are all kind of like would be nice. We'll see. I've thrown my name in the hat for Costa Cozzi at the end of this year. I don't know if I've got in yet. That you find out in a week or two.
Which you've done before.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think it was your greatest run ever.
It was. I think Western's my greatest run ever.
Send it in.
Send it in.
Andrew McDowall.net. It's done. Just read it out. It's too long. Yeah.
So Costa Cozzi. Oh yeah. And you love that, obviously, because it was your greatest run ever.
Yeah. And I hope, sometimes lightning doesn't strike twice. I hope it's still awesome. I think it will be. And I've got just a fun, good old Blue Lake coming up just for a bit of fun. And that's really it. Like, it's pretty chill, which was the plan. I didn't want to have any big races to worry about while I was doing Western States and just be like, I better look after myself,
Yeah.
No, it was like, we're all in for this one.
Leave it on the table.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So if you, if you happen to get back to your car and the window's broken and something's missing, it's just the trailhead at Riverhead, eh? You just got to be careful.
I tell you what, we've steamed up this car nicely now, haven't we? It's very moist in here. Use the moist word.
This isn't the first time, and there was one time where we'll tell. It's another story, but it involved Eugene, me, and about 50 female runners. Hey, Euge, that was good.
Super.
That wasn't. No one wanted to asphyxiate ourselves. Yeah. It was
anyway, that's for the book.
Yep,
rightio. Hey, look, congratulations. Thank you so much.
Shit, my bro.
And look, so many people.
I'm shaking their hands right now.
You're here by popular demand because heaps of people were saying to us, "When are you going to get that?"
When I was just in the acute stages of sustaining a head injury last week, just like lurching down a hill, feeling really sorry for myself. This woman came past and she was like, "Love Duchess Radio. When are you getting that guy who ran Western States on?" And I was just like, "Yeah, we'll get him on soon."
Are you sure that happened? Or
no, it did. It definitely did. It's one of the few things I remember.
Head injuries can be bad.
Yeah. That zebra. Yeah.
Anyway, well done, mate.
Sweet, guys.
Right, that's it. I mean, it sounds mind-blowing. I really want to go.
Yeah.
I just want to go. I want to be like that dude, not maybe on the wait list, the person who came from Sweden, like, I just want to go and hang out for the weekend.
I want to be a guy with the muffins.
Yeah. The Scarmint muffin.
Were they like those, maybe they were like those Costco ones, the huge ones?
I'm picturing the Costco.
Yeah,
I'm picturing a
immediately
Costco
that's what came
size,
into my mind as
a
well.
double fist kind of muffin. I'm not picturing like a quinoa and carrot must, buckwheat muffin there.
It's not going to be mistaken for a cupcake.
No, not anytime soon.
No. I mean, how good too was the swag and UD. Wow.
Yeah.
Just chuck him a new pack.
I mean, it's pretty, and I guess that's the thing, isn't it? This is, there's money to be made, and there's money to be made in people thinking that you're cool, and it's also this being cool. So well done for helping a Kiwi who turned up, who was looking for some spare elastic out.
That's right. I personally, I was a bit surprised. I picked Andrew to be carrying a sewing kit with him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was a little bit surprised. He's gone down in my estimation.
And what about those other races he's entered? My goodness me.
What a bucket list.
No, he's not resting on his laurels, is he?
No.
Right. Speaking of going off for a rest, that's it. Thank you to our DCR 8 station crew, all you lot. Stay tuned for the next quote-unquote regular DCR podcast when we have an amazing guest lined up for an incredible chat.
Hey, Kona.
Thanks, Rigby.
If you want to get the DCR hit that you love ad-free and get it every single Wednesday, there's a way to do that. Sign up to become a member of the DCR Aid Station crew, $8 a month or $80 a year. Paid subscribers get full access to the newsletter featuring recommendations, reviews, and the special sauce. Special sauce is quite cool, isn't it, Matt?
Maybe I've been drinking from the special sauce bottle a bit much lately, but really enjoy putting together the content, really love bringing it out to the people, and the people really love it too. So yeah, get involved, support Dirt Church Radio. We've been cracking on for 6 years now, and we really love bringing this to you. So help us help you to help us help you, helping us.
You can find a link on the website, which is www.dirtchurchradio.com.